Okay, we got our third deal of the day. Aaron Gordon going to the Nuggets. It's Gary Harris, whose offense just fell off after averaging 17 points a game that one year. Had some injuries, but it happened. RJ Hampton, that's an interesting get for Orlando. You get a young dude who, at least in high school, was really exciting, and you get a first. And firsts are always nice, especially for a team in the Magic that is now just in complete tank rebuild mode. And Denver is getting Gary Clark for what that's worth. And I'll get into the smaller things, but to think about the obvious, it's Gordon's fit with the Nuggets, which I think is really interesting. He can set screens for Jamal Murray, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of potential to switch that. I mean, maybe teams would be okay with Gordon being defended by a smaller guy, Murray being defended by a wing, but I feel like Denver would be smart enough to then attack that sort of thing. So I don't think teams are just going to be able to switch that as much as they want to. And there's a decent amount of potential just with that between Murray's pull-up shooting, Gordon's rolling abilities, and also Gordon's ability to then make the next pass, whether that's to Jokic, who might be on the dunker spot, shooters in the corner. Of course, Denver has cutters all the time. So all that makes a lot of sense to me. The next thing is, of course, when Jokic is doing everything he's doing. So you could have Gordon cutting off of Jokic, making plays at the top of the key. I could picture Jokic and Gordon handoff plays. I could picture Gordon, Jokic pick and rolls with either one of them being the ball handler or setting the screen. I feel like Gordon, especially if he's going to be making his threes, and even then I don't think he has to be making them at a super high rate, is kind of an amazing fit with Denver. I feel like Gordon is the type of guy where on a certain team, the fit is going to be awkward, as we saw with Orlando for a long time. But on this Denver team, where they have like two dudes who the defense really has to pay attention to, and in the case of Jokic especially, where, I mean, just good luck. We all know how it's going this year with Jokic. I just feel like Gordon can play off of all this so well. I mean, the only thing the teams can hope for now is that he just isn't making his jump shots pretty much, and that he's not okay with buying into what Denver wants him to do, which is probably going to be a little more off the ball, a little more screen setting. But I feel like he's going to get so many possessions just doing that off of Jokic and Murray that even if he might be a guy to be like, oh, I don't really love this, I feel like it's not going to matter because he's just going to get so many easy baskets. I mean, just think about Jokic gets a rebound, Gordon jets in transition, and then it's just dunks off of that baseball pass that Jokic loves to do. The other thing that's going to be interesting here is Gordon's defense, because of course Denver, they need some defense. They need some help on that side of the floor. And Gordon at times has been very good on defense. Not just kind of good, very good. Now there's questions about the consistency, but I feel like on a better team that's going to demand more out of him in that sort of way defensively, that Gordon will be better. Now, as I say that, Denver's not that great on defense, so maybe their culture for defense is actually not that good. Maybe they just don't have the personnel for it. Even so, I think their effort is there. I mean, Jokic, he steps up on screens. Jamal Murray has gotten better. I just think it's a matter of if you don't have the guys, you don't have the guys sometimes. And I think Gordon can be like a real guy who can switch. He can step up on screens. He'll give you some rim protection. That's not his main thing. I think he can help and he can rotate. I think if he ends up on a center, it can be fine for the most part. I mean, look, Embiid is in the East and Jokic is on Gordon's team. So two of the tougher centers to defend, you don't got to deal with them. At this point, it's basically, is he going to get matched up on like Anthony Davis in the playoffs? I mean, that is still difficult, but I mean, it's better to only have to go against one dominant big than two or three, you know? I'm thinking about the starting five now. You got Murray, Jokic, Barton. I'm assuming MPJ, and I'm assuming that Millsap is now going to the bench for Gordon. And I feel like that makes sense. I feel like it just kind of works. I mean, there were some rumors about Will Barton. Is he going to be on the move? We'll have to see. Of course, Gary Harris is now gone, so you can take him out of the rotation. But I feel like it's kind of cool to be able to go to Millsap and JaMychal Green off the bench now. It does give Denver a bit of versatility. I mean, that said, Jokic is going to be playing over 40 minutes a game in the playoffs, so I don't think we're going to see that much of like other guys at center. Like for other teams, maybe the small ball Aaron Gordon center thing could be a thing. Here, maybe for like a couple minutes a game, but Jokic is the main guy. But still, having a couple extra wings who care about defense, and I mean, Millsap and JaMychal Green's three-point shooting has been good. To have those guys off the bench, it's cool. It's a nice extra little thing. I think a nice subplot of this team could be the Monte Morris, Aaron Gordon pick and roll, and that could be kind of cool. But yeah, man, this is a good move. I mean, you think about Denver matching up against other teams. I mentioned Gordon on AD. I mean, I would still take AD in that scenario if that's what it ends up being, but Gordon, to me, would have a better chance than what the Rockets were throwing at AD back in that playoff series. We think about, again, against the Lakers, you have Gordon on LeBron. Yeah, LeBron's still going to win the matchup, but Gordon might be able to make him work a little bit harder. You think about Gordon on, like maybe against Phoenix. Could Gordon have possessions on Devin Booker? I honestly think he has that sort of potential defensively. Against the Clippers, similar thing. He could have possessions on Kawhi, on PG. We'll see if the Clippers end up making another move. Dallas, could he defend Luka? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give Aaron Gordon too much credit, but just, his physical profile, to me, he can be really, really awesome defensively. So, yeah. I think the only way this doesn't go well is if Gordon's attitude is just not there, and he is not okay with playing off the ball and all that. But as I said when I was being optimistic about this move, I still feel like even if he doesn't love it, he's going to get so many open looks that it's not going to matter. Like, he could really average, 17 points a game on this Denver team by just simply playing hard. I mean, just add like 1 3-pointer and 1 or 2 off the dribble stuff a game and 1 offensive rebound. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like Gordon could really be unlocked on this Denver team. But just for the sake of seeing it both ways, yeah, the way it doesn't go well is everything I just said, on top of Gordon's shooting just kind of falls off. And defensively, his inconsistencies remain consistent, if that makes sense. And he's a guy who, he's got the tools to be an awesome defender, but whether it's the commitment or just simply knowing how to defend, it's not all really there. But again, I do think this will be not just good, but like really good for the Nuggets. And a nice other thing with this is that Gordon is under contract after this season. So assuming it goes well, which I think it will, then they'll have another year before they got to worry about bringing him back. And if it doesn't go well, then he's an expiring contract. So that's a trade asset. You could just look to get something else for him in the offseason. Sure, you'd be out 1 pick, but it's worth the chance of him being good. It's a good move. As a Celtics fan, a little beat up that they couldn't get him. I mean, Gary Harris, RJ Hampton in a first. I feel like the Celtics could have effectively matched that. Now, they used the exception already, so it would have had to have been, actual contracts, but I feel like they could have got the money there. It's Thompson, it's Nesmith, it's like 2 other small deals, but oh well, Denver got him.